that I'm going to show you before the lecture. We are going to use some of the concepts. We're going to see some of the concepts that we covered in the last lesson, and we're probably going to use them in this lesson. Do you see my screen? The GlowScript program, right? So here I have a small program, and it's in fact, animation of a mathematical operation. So I'll just show you what it looks like. So it shows you that I have a function represented by the blue curve, and then at different points on the curve, I have a tangent, which is shown by this moving green line, and the tangent is at the blue point, and it's changing because I'm changing the point where I am looking at the tangent, and the slope of that tangent is continuously plotted as a red function. So that's what the derivative is. So if you have a function and you want to plot its derivative, so this is what it means graphically. All right. The most important thing here in this graph is that when the function, the blue curve, when it goes to a maxima or when it goes to a minima, in both cases, its derivative goes to 0. Derivative here, the blue peaks, and the red, which is the derivative, goes to 0. The same thing happens here when the blue peaks, the red curve, which is the derivative of the blue curve, goes to 0. All right, and this is the concept that we are going to use today. You're welcome to, so this is in the folder that I shared already. So you're welcome to explore the code, make changes, and do things that you like. So this is a visual way of looking at derivatives. And then I have another little simulation about the vector rotation. You're welcome to explore the program. I'm going to just directly show it. So here I have a vector represented by the blue arrow, and this vector is continuously changing, is rotating in the XY plane. The Z is just to give you the perspective that it's a 3-dimensional case, but we are not doing anything along the Z axis. We're just viewing from the Z axis side. And as the blue, let me just see, when the actual vector is pointing along x-axis, so there is no component along y-axis, and the green vector on the x-axis, which represents the positive x-axis component, is almost equal to the vector, because I couldn't stop it exactly at theta 0. And then as it progresses, the y component grows, the x component goes down. The both components have color green, which means both of them are positive. As the vector goes to next quadrant, y stays positive, the y component of the vector. The z component becomes negative, shown by color red. Then when it goes to the third quadrant, both components are negative. And then in the fourth quadrant, x again is positive and y is negative. So this is a dynamical way of looking at the vector resolution in different quadrants. And then we have one last simulation, vector in a rotating frame. So this is more detailed. Let me just stop it at the beginning. So I have two frames of reference, xy and x prime y prime, the prime frame, and blue is the vector. This time I have my first frame, the unprimed frame, fixed, and the vector fixed as well. And I am allowing the primed coordinate system to rotate. So you see, now primed coordinate is slightly rotated with respect to the unprimed coordinate system. And the blue, which is the vector, irrespective of the coordinate system. So in the unprimed coordinate system, the orange color are the components of the vector. And since the vector is not rotating with respect to that frame, they stay as such. However, as my prime coordinate moves, the green arrows, which show the components of the vector in the rotating frame, they change. See this? Now, when my frame is exactly, the x-axis of the frame is exactly aligned in the direction of the vector, its y component in the prime coordinate is 0. Okay. And then as it goes further, the y component becomes negative, in the prime coordinate and the x component stays positive, you see, and then then the negative y component grows because now negative y is exactly aligned with the vector and no other component. And the red color shows that it's negative y axis, which is aligned with the vector, and so on. And then now my negative x axis is aligned with the vector, so no other component. And then now positive y axis is getting closer to the vector, and so much and so forth. Okay, so you're free to play with these animations.
ये एनिमेशंस एलएमएस पे है
जी,
ये एनिमेशंस आपके पास ही एलएमएस पे भी अपलोडेड है?
ये एनिमेशंस ग्लो स्क्रिप्ट में आप मैंने शेयर की हुई हैं, वहां से आप इसको यू कैन प्ले विद देम, यू कैन मेक चेंजेस टू देम. लिंक आपके पास है ग्लो शेयर करनी तो मैं दोबारा शेयर कर दूंगा. ठीक है. So now we begin with projectile motion. So there can be several types of projectile motions. We are considering the one where we are standing at the ground and we are kicking, like you kick a football upwards but at an angle with respect to ground. Let's say you're kicking the football in this direction, okay, and this makes an angle theta with the ground. And once you are done kicking, the football rises and goes forward, rises and goes forward, and then at some point it falls down, it hits the ground. So this is ground, and x-axis is aligned with the ground, and this is y-axis. All right, so we're going to study the motion of an object in 2 dimensions, and we are considering the example of a projectile. So let's set our clock at the beginning of the experiment t0 to 0. Let's also assume that the position vector at the very start is 0 because we are at origin. Okay, so the initial position is 0. Now this time it's a vector quantity. We are dealing with 2 dimensions, and we would be using vectors to represent our position, our velocity, and the acceleration. Right? It is also 0, and the object is thrown with an initial velocity u, which is a vector as well. And the vector u is this, and it makes an angle theta with the x-axis or with the ground. Now, if we were to resolve this vector along x-axis in the coordinate system and the y-axis, the x component would be let's say that u vector is the velocity, and the u without the vector is the speed or is the magnitude of this vector. Okay, so the x component of the velocity ux would be u cosine of theta, and uy would be u sine of theta. So that gives us the initial velocity vector as u cosine theta ex, the unit vector, plus u sine of theta ex. All right, so these are the initial conditions. Since it's a motion under free fall, after kicking, the acceleration involved in this case would be the gravitational acceleration. And now we have to represent the gravitational acceleration as a vector as well. So before we had confusion. So look, the coordinate system is is that positive y is pointing upwards and positive x-axis is pointing rightwards. So the acceleration would be minus g e y. The acceleration is parallel to the x-axis, or actually anti-parallel to the x-axis. It's pointing downwards. It's pointing in the negative direction of the. So before we had the confusion, g here is just the magnitude, 10 meters per second square or 9.8 meter per second square, depending on your choice. But the negative sign shows the direction. Now it's very clear. So once you start dealing with vectors, then you're not confused, because it's just a vector that is pointing downwards with g length, right? So this is all what we know about our problem. The initial time 0, the position 0 at time 0, and the initial velocity is this, and the acceleration. Now the questions we want to solve, or the quantities that we want to find out are, for example, we want to find out the position. And in this case, the position would be again a vector at a time t later on. So we want to find out the position of this projectile at any time. We also want to find out its instantaneous velocity at a later time t. All right. So this is what we want to find out, and it's very simple. We would be using the equations of motion that we learned. The case would be the constant acceleration. So we would be using the simpler form of the equations of motion, and we would be using the vector representation of our physical quantities, and it becomes very straightforward to find out answer to these questions. All right. For example,
sorry to interrupt, but वो u की equation के अंदर shouldn't it be u sin theta e cap y?
oh yes, thank you. Sorry. Yes. All right. So now we'll use the vector form of the equations of motion, and the equation of motion would be the one that we use for constant acceleration case. So the vector form of the equation of motion is v of t equals u, the initial velocity, plus a t. Everything in the vector form, and it's very simple now. All we need to do is just add the vector form of the initial velocity, which is this, the u cosine unit vector x, the u sine unit vector y. So first we plug this value. Plus, and now the value of acceleration here, remember, it only has y component. It has no component along x-axis. Minus g e y. So this would be minus g and a scalar t g.
सर आपने फिर से ex लिख दिया साइन के साथ, ey नहीं होएगा?
Oh yes, sorry about that. Yes. ठीक है. So whenever you have a situation like this, now we have a one vector along x-axis and two components along y-axis. We usually combine them. I'll be doing this a lot of times in the later part of this course. So whenever we have a situation, sometimes I skip this step and I immediately rearrange these terms along their unit vector. So in this case, it would be u cosine theta ex plus u sine theta minus gt ey. The instantaneous velocity vector has two components, one along x-axis and the other along y-axis. All right, very simple. So it's the same thing that we did before. The only difference is there are two differences. One is that now we have a two-dimensional motion. The object has velocity both in the x-axis and in the y-axis, and it depends on the angle theta, the initial, the launching angle, if you like. And Of course, the x component, the horizontal component of the velocity doesn't depend on time or acceleration, of course, because the gravity acts only in this direction, and the vertical component has dependence on time and acceleration. So now the next question that we want to answer is, for example, the position of this object as a function of time. And again, we'll use another equation of motion. For example, if I write it in its general form, that would be, again, assuming that t is 0 at the beginning, ut plus half at, right? And r naught is also 0. So
So half it square नहीं होता?
g squared. ठीक है. And then r naught is 0. So we're only left with this much, these two terms. And again, it's very simple. Now you substitute the value of u, which is in its components, u cosine theta times t ex plus u sine theta times t ey. Okay, so we got the first term, and now the next term is very simple, minus half g t squared ey. Okay, so that's the position as a function of time. Again, you can combine the coefficients of the unit vector y. So you will get cosine theta t ex plus u sine theta t minus half gt squared ex. Yeah, sorry, ey. Right? And be careful, this is t is not the argument of the function sine, but is multiplied with the whole thing. So now we have both the velocity and the position as a function of time. We didn't really need to do much, just need to play around with the vector representation of these quantities, and we get both the vectors for the position and velocity. But the part that comes next is interesting. So now we want to ask this question. For example, we want to find out what is the time of flight? What is the time that this projectile takes from the point of its launch to the time it hits the ground again? So that's time of flight, the total time that the projectile remains in the air. Okay. Again, in this case, we are ignoring the air resistance. We would learn how to include air resistance in our equations later in this course, right? So what would be the argument? Can you look at this expression and help me impose the physical condition that would then help me find the time of flight?
Sir, displacement would have to be 0 again.
The whole expression?
So basically, the expression would be equal to 0 since the displacement is 0 again.
डिस्प्लेसमेंट जीरो नहीं होगा जी, देखें बिल्कुल ठीक है, डिस्प्लेसमेंट जीरो नहीं होगा क्योंकि जब यहाँ पे है तो पोजीशन वेक्टर ये है।
Sir, y component का displacement सिर्फ 0
हाँ,
होगा।
ये देखिए, ये पूरा x कंपोनेंट तो ये होगा इक्वल टू द होल डिस्टेंस दैट इट हैज ट्रैवल्ड। ठीक है, सिर्फ y कंपोनेंट 0 होगा। एक्सीलेंट, वेरी गुड। So the physical condition is that when the object has fallen down again, its y component is 0 at the beginning, and its y component would be 0 again when it hits the ground. So this quantity here, this is the physical condition that we need to impose. When this is 0, so that is the condition when the projectile has hit the ground again. So let's impose that condition and see what do we get. equals to 0. Now we have to solve it for t. So what are the possible values of t? The first value, one of the values would be t0. You see that this equation is satisfied for t equals to 0. And that's the case at the very beginning. At time t0, the y coordinate is 0. So the equation is consistent, but we are not interested in this time. We are interested in the time of flight. That is, we want to find the value of t when it hits the ground again, not the first time when it is originally at the ground. And that value of t, you can just manipulate this equation and you would get.
उसमें तो values नहीं चाहिए होंगी हमें सब चीजों की.
जी दोबारा पूछें, क्या सवाल है आपका?
मैं कह रहा हूँ कि वो second time find out कि won't we need values for that. मतलब अब तो समझ आ गई आपने, बस उसकी equation निकाल ली है, ठीक है.
हाँ तो ये जनरल है ना. अब जब वैल्यूज होंगी तो फिर देन यू विल फाइंड डिफरेंट टाइम फॉर डिफरेंट वैल्यूज. इनिशियल वेलोसिटी पे डिपेंड कर रहा है टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट. एक्सेलरेशन तो अब ग्राउंड पे ऑलमोस्ट कांस्टेंट हम ले सकते हैं, और थीटा पे डिपेंड कर रहा है ना. इट मेक्स सेंस राइट. टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट वुड डिपेंड ऑन हाउ हार्ड यू किक द फुटबॉल and at what angle you kick it, right? And then to get numerical value, of course, you need to plug in theta given whatever situation you have and the initial velocity, the absolute value of the initial velocity. Okay, so the next question is, this was time of flight and I call it TF to distinguish it from the other times, time of flight. So the next question we want to find out how much time it would take to reach the maximum height. So at some point, if you see this projectile, it reaches a maximum point, right? At some point, it goes to the highest point and then it starts falling again, right? So we want to find out the time it takes to get to the highest point. So what would be the physical condition in this case?
Velocity zero.
The y component of the velocity. Because इस तरफ तो वो move कर रहा है ना. Only y component of the velocity should be 0. Very good.
सर वैसे तो हम ये नहीं कर सकते कि उसने टोटल टाइम जो लिया उसको अगर हम डिवाइड बाय 2 कर दे तो वो अपनी मैक्सिमम हाइट पे तो वो इससे आधे टाइम में पहुंचा होगा ना.
कर भी सकते हैं और थोड़ा ख्याल भी करना चाहिए, क्योंकि ये इस केस में तो इसकी ट्रैजेक्टरी सिमेट्रिक है और जवाब वही आएगा जो आप बता रही हैं ना. लेकिन ये अगर हवा चल रही है सामने से, ठीक है,
सर
तो
वो एयर रेजिस्टेंस तो अभी के लिए नहीं ना कंसीडर करे, क्योंकि हवा हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सिस में. ठीक
है, तो अभी के लिए ठीक है, लेकिन the more rigorous way of it is imposing the condition velocity being equal to 0. ठीक है, इस केस में तो वही जवाब आएगा. तो जो हमारे पास वेलोसिटी का y कंपोनेंट है, कहाँ पे है हमारी इक्वेशन? ये है वेलोसिटी का y कंपोनेंट. ठीक है, u sin थीटा माइनस gt, इसको आप 0 कर दें और फिर टाइम के लिए सॉल्व करें. vy is equal to 0 and u sin theta minus gt is equal to 0, and the time to get to the maximum height th then would be u sin theta over g. Okay, that would be the time, and see it's exactly half, as someone was just saying, it's exactly half the total time of flight. So the next question that we want to ask is,
सही यार एक दो बता दें दोबारा से, सॉरी इसको 0 किसको किया आपने यहाँ पे ऊपर?
आपकी आवाज कट रही है, दोबारा बताएं. जी दोबारा बताएं, क्या सवाल है? All right, so the next question is, what would be the range? The range is the horizontal distance that it has traveled. What would be this quantity r? Let's call it range. Okay, what would be this quantity? So this quantity would be simply the x coordinate of the position vector, the x coordinate of the position vector, but x coordinate of the position vector depends on time. So if we take this x coordinate of the position vector, which gives us the horizontal distance or horizontal position of the object, if we include the time of flight, if we substitute the time of flight in t, we will get the range that, or the final horizontal distance that it would cover. So u cosine t is the x component actually. U cosine theta t is the x component. And when we substitute u cosine theta time of flight here, then this would become range, the maximum distance covered. Okay. And to get the more explicit form of range, you just introduce the time of flight in this expression from here. And you would get R to be u squared sine 2 theta over g. Okay. This is the range. So you see, it's very simple because we have vectors. We can very easily argue different quantities. We can very easily reduce different quantities. All right. So we move on to next question. So somehow, because of the projector resolution, I am absolutely unable to read your chats today. So if you have a pressing concern, speak up or wait for the end of the lecture. So the next question is, let me make the figure again. You see, without doing any more work, you can realize that if I throw it in this way, it's probably, if I throw it with a large theta, it's not probably, it is going to fall sooner, much closer to myself. If I throw it with much smaller angle, again, it is going to fall down on the ground much closer to myself. There is going to be an optimal angle between 0 and 90 degrees. Of course, if I throw it at 90 degrees, it would just go up and come down and fall exactly where it started. Then if I start with a small angle, then it's going to fall down much closer. We keep decreasing the angle, decreasing the angle, the theta. Then it goes further and further. And at some point, again, if the angle becomes too small, it's going to fall closer and closer to myself. So in a way, the range, this quantity is a function of the angle. It changes, the range changes as theta changes. And there is going to be an optimal theta which maximizes this range. That's what we are trying to find out. So we want to find out the value of theta. Let's call it theta naught. That gives us our max. The best angle at which to throw. So we can do it using different arguments, but I want to introduce you a concept. Probably you have learned it in your high school, that if you have a function, in this case, we have theta, the variable, and r is the function. R depends on theta. We don't know the explicit form, but let's assume that it looks like this. All right. So if you take the derivative of r, okay, so at which point the derivative of r would be 0 with respect to theta?
At its maximum point.
Maximum पे, लेकिन यहाँ नहीं होगा क्या?
होगा सर.
Okay. So the first derivative, if first derivative of a function with respect to a variable is 0, it gives you the extremas of the function. So it could be a maximum value or a minimum value of the function. It gives you, and you can't distinguish between the two from just the first derivative. So how do I figure out if I'm only interested in the maxima? How do I do that? Any second derivative. Second derivative. Very good. So now see this. So I'm going to, and if you like, you can recall the in animation that we saw. So this is the first derivative. I'm going to plot it. It touches 0, and then it touches 0 again and goes to a maximum. So this is the derivative. You see? Now the second derivative, see this. The second derivative at this point, which would be actually the derivative of the derivative, that would be the second derivative. So this is this is first derivative. Look at what would be the value of second derivative at this point. Look at the value of the slope of this tangent, negative. So if the second derivative is negative, is less than 0, it means that we have hit a maxima. And now look at the value of the derivative at this point. So the derivative is 0 at this point, and the second derivative would be the derivative of this function, and that would be the slope of this tangent here. And you see the second derivative is positive. So the point corresponding this would be a minima. So this is the condition for maxima, and d squared r over d theta square greater than 0, given that the first derivative is 0, would give you a minima. All right. So now we have just calculated the formula for range, and range is nothing but u squared sine 2 theta over g. Now let's take the derivative of r with respect to theta. All right. And this turns out to be u squared 2 cosine 2 theta over g, right? And imagine what would be this. Yes.
हमने r की वैल्यू निकाली थी 2u square sin theta cos theta over g. हमने ये sin 2 theta over g नहीं निकाला. आपने वो वाली वो यूज की है जो आइडेंटिटी होती है कि sin 2 theta equals to 2 sin theta cos theta.
हाँ जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल वही यूज किया. वो यहाँ पे मैंने शॉर्ट ये कर दी, यहाँ पे देख लेंगे. ये देखें ना, ये है रेंज की हमने जो डेफिनेशन की है u कोसाइन थीटा, और इसमें tf की आप वैल्यू सब्स्टिट्यूट करें ना 2u sin थीटा है, तो यू विल गेट द 2 sin थीटा 2 cos थीटा हियर, और उसमें आप आइडेंटिटी यूज करके ये ले सकते हैं. ठीक है. Instead of writing 2 sin theta cosine theta, I'm writing just sin 2 theta. ठीक है. तो so here we have the derivative, and I don't need to show, you can check it for yourself that the second derivative of this function would be negative. ठीक है. तो इसका मतलब ये कि this is a maximum, so all I need to do is introduce the derivative to be 0 and then solve it for theta. U squared 2 cosine theta over g, and then if you solve it, it means that, of course, this is a constant, this is a constant, this is a constant. It means cosine 2 theta is equal to 0, and that gives me theta equals to, in degrees, 45 degrees. So I'm sure that you know the answer from before, but this is the important point is that we learn how to calculate, how to impose this kind of conditions, and how to use calculus derivatives to find these type of answers. Sometimes you have more complicated situations where you can't guess the answer or can't intuitively find out the answer. So this would be the answer. So theta 45 would maximize the range. So if you shoot the projectile at 45 degrees, and this is a special case. This is a special case for when you are standing at ground and the object is landing on ground as well, flat ground, okay? No inclination. This way, if you're kicking something and the surface is rising in front of you, then this does not hold. And if you're standing on a plane and the surface is lowering like this, like my arm, then you can't apply this, of course. Then the formulation is different. And the last question about this case is, what is the shape of the trajectory? All right. So the shape of the trajectory means we somehow want to find out how y coordinate changes with the change in y. If I change, with the change in x. So how does y change as x changes? So that's the thing that we want to find out. And the simplest way to do is that we write the x component of the position vector u cosine theta t, and the y component of the position vector, which is what was the y component of the position vector? The y component is u sine theta t, u sine theta t minus half gt squared. All right. So we want to see how y changes or how y depends on x. And the only way to do is if you eliminate t from this equation. So you just write t in terms of x. Yes, and then substitute the value of t. So you write t in terms of theta, u, and x, and substitute the value of t in this equation, and then that would give you y in terms of x. So I am not doing the algebra. You can do it yourself. Just find out u from the first equation and substitute it in the second equation, and what you will get is something like this. And using some trigonometric simplifications, tan theta x minus g over 2u squared cosine theta squared x squared. All right. So this is the shape of the trajectory. It's, if you recognize this equation, it is the equation of a parabola. Okay. So the trajectory makes a parabola. The trajectory of a projectile makes a parabola. All right. Now this was a very simple situation, and we got through it very quickly because vectors made it all easier. And the next situation that we have is, it's a little bit more complicated than this. Okay, now let's consider that.
Yes, sir. So in the previous working, shouldn't it be tan theta x into u?
u तो u से cancel out हो जाता है जब t करोगे substitute x over u cos theta दोनों cancel out हो जाते हैं
नहीं होगा ये आप चेक कर लें। ठीक है,
इसके बाद वाला भी समझा दें, g over 2u square cos square theta.
जी
So how did we get
जी
यहाँ तक? सिर्फ पहला पार्ट समझ आ गया, tan theta x, दूसरा नहीं समझ आया, ये कैसा है?
ये तो हमने कैलकुलेट किया ना, ये x कंपोनेंट है पोजीशन वेक्टर का जो,
समझ आ गया,
और ये y कंपोनेंट है। ठीक
ये
है,
भी समझ आ गया।
तो अब यहाँ से t को हम लिख सकते हैं x over u का कोसाइन थीटा।
यस सर।
तो t की वो वाली वैल्यू यहाँ और यहाँ डाल दें और फिर सिंपलीफाई करें।
तो स्क्वायर कर दिया आपने, अच्छा ठीक है
जी,
स्क्वायर कर दिया आपने, t स्क्वायर था इसलिए स्क्वायर कर दिया उसको।
मैंने कर नहीं दिया, आता है t तो स्क्वायर है, दैट्स गिवन, सो देन यू विल गेट t।
सही है।
Okay, so now we have a little bit more complicated situation. What happens is this, that we are at a point, and now the surface before, we are standing at a peak that goes at a constant slope down. So this is the ground now. This is how ground looks like. Before, the ground was flat. Okay, so now this is the ground, and it makes an angle phi with respect to a hypothetical horizontal line, if you like. Okay, but we are throwing the projectile still at an angle theta with respect to the horizontal line. Okay, the object is still being thrown, the projectile is still being thrown at angle theta, and the ground now is not flat, it's not here, it's here. Okay, so the object would fall down somewhere here. All right, so now this is the problem that we need to solve. And the question that we want to answer is, for what angle, the same question, what angle would give us the maximum range? Okay, probably, let's not write it this way. So again, because R in this case still depends on theta, probably would depend on phi as well. We will figure that out. But we want to find the value of theta, which would maximize the range, which would maximize the distance away from the point where the projectile is kicked up. Now, there are two ways of solving this problem. I'm going to show you one, and the other one will probably just go through very quickly, or you can do it yourself. And the first approach that we are going to use is we are going to arrange our coordinate system in such a way that our x-axis points along the ground. So this is x-axis. All right. And now the y-axis would be at 90 degrees to the x-axis, this angle here. All right. Now, what is the angle of velocity u, the initial velocity with the x-axis? What is that angle?
5 plus theta.
Cos theta plus 5.
Yes, so the angle that velocity makes now, sorry, is this, which is theta plus phi. So now can I write the components of the velocity along x and y axis? Very simple, no? U cosine theta plus phi plus u sine theta plus phi. All right. And you can always, whenever you have a situation like this, please, always you can go back and check. So substitute phi 0. Then you can take both the x-axis and the ground back to this level. And then do you recover the original velocity expression that we had, initial velocity? You get, right? The phi goes to 0, phi goes to 0, you get the original expression, right? So the velocity was simpler. Now the question is, how do we express acceleration? Acceleration is always pointing in this direction. This is acceleration. So how do we write? Now it's no more the case where we had this situation that acceleration was simply minus GEY. Now that's no more the case, because acceleration is no more parallel to the negative of y-axis or anti-parallel to the y-axis, right? So now we have to, of course, its magnitude is still g. So what do? We extend, this is y-axis. You can extend the y-axis here, right? And if my coordinate system is phi angle displaced from this horizontal, the y-axis would be 5 degrees away from this vertical. So this angle is phi. I don't need to convince you, right? Because this is the horizontal line, and I have moved my axis 5 degrees below. So my y would have moved 5 degrees away from the vertical. All right. And now the acceleration would have two components. One component along the negative y-axis and the other component along x-axis. So now let's find out the y component and x component. First of all, the y component would be negative because the acceleration is pointing along is parallel to the negative of the y-axis. So the y component would be minus g cosine 5. And the x component, which is this, would be g sine 5. All right. So now the acceleration is, this is the only difficult part in this problem. G sine, sorry. G sine 5 EX, because the x component is parallel to the positive x-axis. So the drawing does not show it, but the acceleration should be parallel to this line. It's a bad drawing. I'm sorry for that. Right? And minus g cosine phi EY. Okay. So this is the acceleration. This is the velocity.
सर मेरी बात सुने, आपने वो जो cos EY है उसको आपने नेगेटिव किया हुआ, लेकिन sin EY को आपने नेगेटिव नहीं किया हुआ, तो वो मैंने पूछना था क्यों नहीं किया हुआ।
हाँ जी, इसलिए देखिए ना, पहले तो आप ये कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम को रिकॉग्नाइज कर ले। मैं ये कलर चॉक से बना रहा हूँ, शायद कुछ बेहतर नजर आए। ये कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम है, ये ठीक है, ये कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम है, ठीक है
जी,
ठीक है। और ये वेक्टर है जिसको रिजॉल्व करना है, ये एक्सेलरेशन है, ठीक है। तो अब देखें कि इसको उस कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम में इसका एक ये कंपोनेंट बनता है ना
जी,
और दूसरा कंपोनेंट पैरेलल टू द ये पैरेलल टू द वाई एक्सिस है, ये एंटी पैरेलल है, ठीक है ना। एंटी पैरेलल होगा तो नेगेटिव होगा। और दूसरा ये कंपोनेंट बनता है पैरेलल टू द एक्स एक्सिस, ठीक है। तो ये कंपोनेंट जो है इज ऑलवेज गिवन बाय जी साइन फाई। एंगल ये है ना, तो एंगल के सामने वाला जी साइन फाई होता है, और एंगल के साथ एडजेसेंट जो है वो माइनस जी कोसाइन, और सॉरी जी कोसाइन फाई होगा। माइनस इसलिए रखा है कि एंटी पैरेलल टू वाई एक्सिस, लेकिन एक्स कंपोनेंट इज पॉइंटिंग इन द पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन ऑफ द एक्सेलरेशन, तो इसको पॉजिटिव लिया है।
अगर एक्स भी एंटी पैरेलल होता तो ये भी नेगेटिव होता फिर।
बिल्कुल, अगर कोई ऐसी सिचुएशन है कि ये कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम मैंने इधर टिल्ट करने के बजाय इधर टिल्ट किया होता तो फिर एक्स एक्सिस भी नेगेटिव हो जाता।
सही,
ठीक है।
जी।
The sign always should come from your coordinate system. So now we can write the position vector. So if I can write it here, fit it here. जी जी
सर कोई नहीं, किसी का माइक ऑन है, हो गया ऑफ, इट्स ओके।
अब देखें पोजीशन वेक्टर हमने पहले भी लिखा है। नाउ इट्स वेरी सिंपल, सो वी हैव टू राइट the equation for the position vector you remember already, right? So the equation is something like this: ut plus half at squared, right? So now first the value of velocity, and I'm going to, so for example, when you write the u, it has x and y component, And when you substitute acceleration in this, it has x and y component. So I'm going to directly write the expression where I combine the x components of the vector and the y component. After the substitution, I'm doing rearranging, so I'm skipping a step, and you can verify it. U cosine theta plus phi plus half g sin phi t squared, ये हो गया x component, ठीक है. You can recognize, वैसे भी तो आपको पता है ना कि x component of u, this vector would add to the x component of this vector, and y component of this vector would add to the y component of this vector. So you can recognize this is the x component of velocity, and there would be a t here as well, or no? Yes, there is a t here.
There will be.
Yes, a t here, right? So I'm sorry for my unorganized writing. All right, so here you have the x component of velocity plus the x component of acceleration. And then in the next line, I'm going to write the y component of the velocity minus y component of the minus comes, of course, from the coordinate system, half g cosine phi t squared ey unit vector. So this is getting quite clumsy here. So this is separate. All right. So now this is the position vector as a function of time. We have really done nothing new or very special, except that this time we have tilted our coordinate system in such a way that we align the ground with the x-axis, but that made the representation of g a bit complicated. But then you would see the benefit of doing this, that it makes another condition simpler, right? So we have now the position vector as a function of time and angle and the initial velocity. Now, what would be the condition in this case that I need to impose to calculate the time of flight, for example? Anyone? To calculate the maximum time of flight, of course, the projectile would travel something like this and then eventually would come down, right? And hit the ground at some distance. What would be the condition?
It starts at t equals 0.
Yes, but that's fine. What would be what time would it hit the ground? So what would be the physical condition? We need to find out time, but
Where the y component is 0.
Y component is
very
0.
good. हाँ, y component 0. ये अब बहुत सिंपल है क्योंकि मैंने कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम को टिल्ट कर दिया हुआ है. तो सिंपली y component 0 करके हम ये कंडीशन इंपोज कर सकते हैं. बट इमेजिन इफ आई हैड नॉट टिल्टेड माय y एक्सिस, तो ये y component 0 वाली कंडीशन फिर हम इंपोज नहीं कर सकते थे. डू यू गेट दिस?
y component कैसे 0 होगा?
ये है y की डायरेक्शन, ठीक है ना, और ये है x एक्सिस. तो जब ये इसको हिट करेगा तो उस वक्त y 0 नहीं होगा इसका. ये ठीक है. तो ये देखें, ये जो मेन मैसेज है आज के इस पार्ट लेसन के पार्ट का, वो ये है कि the choice of coordinate system makes the representation of this condition, the y equal to 0 condition, simpler, is easier, just simple y equal to 0. लेकिन acceleration की expression difficult हो गई है, थोड़ी complicate कर गई. But if I choose the coordinate system in the original sense, keep the x-axis horizontal and y-axis vertical, acceleration फिर simple ये वाला आ जाएगा. लेकिन ये जो अभी कंडीशन हम इंपोज करने लगे हैं ना, y equal to 0, फिर ये नहीं इंपोज कर सकेंगे. ये बात समझ आ गई है?
सर लेकिन हमने पिछली एग्जांपल में भी तो यही किया था ना कि जब हमने डिस्टेंस फाइंड करना था तो हम लोगों ने उसका जो y कंपोनेंट था वो 0 रख दिया था.
हाँ, लेकिन उसमें एक्सेलरेशन तो सिंपल था ना, उसमें एक्सेलरेशन तो सिंपल था ना ये वाला.
नहीं वो तो सिंपल था, मैं ये कह रही हूँ आपने कहा है ना कि अभी आपने टिल्ड किया है तो आपने y इक्वल्स टू 0 रख दिया मैक्स डिस्प्लेसमेंट पे, अगर आपने ना टिल्ड किया होता तो शायद हम ना कर सकते, तो अभी हमने पिछली एग्जांपल में नॉर्मली रखा हुआ था।
हाँ हाँ हाँ, लेकिन अब मैं समझ गया आपकी कंफ्यूजन के। कोऑर्डिनेट एक्सिस को टिल्ट ना किया होता फिर, लेकिन अभी भी ग्राउंड यहाँ होता, उसकी बात कर रहा हूँ कंडीशन की। अगर मेरा ग्राउंड यहाँ होता, ठीक है, और
हाँ
एक्स एक्सिस ये होते, तो फिर ये y इक्वल टू 0 वाली कंडीशन नहीं होती, ये कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ।
अच्छा सही।
वो तो ग्राउंड और एक्स एक्सिस उसमें तो अलाइन थे ना, तो उसमें y
हम्म,
इक्वल टू 0 था और एक्सेलरेशन भी सिंपल था। अब ग्राउंड यहाँ पे है हर हालत में, कोऑर्डिनेट की मेरे पास दो चॉइसेस है, मैं वहीं रखूं कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम x को या इसके साथ अलाइन कर दूं। अगर उसके साथ
सही।
उसको वहीं रखूं तो एक्सेलरेशन की एक्सप्रेशन सिंपल होगी, लेकिन ये y वाली कंडीशन कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाएगी। और अगर उसको इंक्लाइन कर दिया है, जो केस हमने चूज किया सॉल्व करने के लिए, तो एक्सेलरेशन की एक्सप्रेशन अब थोड़ी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो गई है, लेकिन ये रेंज वाली कंडीशन सिंपल है, क्योंकि y इक्वल टू 0 हम इम्पोज कर सकते हैं। अभी आगे चल के और क्लियर हो जाएगा। तो अब y coordinate, you can't see it from the previous board, you have to trust my word for it. That's the y component. ठीक है, ये y कंपोनेंट है। अब हम कंडीशन इंपोज कर दें, इसको 0 कर दें, ठीक है। तो अगर आप इसको 0 करके देख लें ये इक्वेशन, तो इट्स क्वाड्रेटिक इन t। एक t की वैल्यू पहले की तरह 0 आ जाएगी, इट इज एट द वेरी बिगिनिंग टचिंग द ग्राउंड, t इक्वल टू 0, और दूसरी जो t की वैल्यू है वो ये आ जाएगी, एंड दैट वुड बी द टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट 2u sin theta plus phi over g cosine phi। ठीक है, अच्छा अब ये देखें, फिर मैं एक दफा आपको इनवाइट करता हूं कि वेरीफाई इट, कि अगर आप फाई को 0 कर दें इस एक्सप्रेशन में, डू यू गेट द ओरिजिनल टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट? यू शुड। कोसाइन 0 इज 1 और यहाँ पे सिंपल 0 है, तो आपके पास ओरिजिनल एक्सप्रेशन आ जाएगा ना।
जी
ठीक है। So whenever you are working with equations, always whatever result you get, always try to plug in the extreme values, t0, theta 90, theta 0, those extreme values where you are sure about the answer from just looking at the problem, or it's either or is given in the statement, and verify your equations against those facts, and if they do not satisfy them, then you find out that something is wrong with your answer. So instead of looking for keys, learn to verify and check your answers by yourself.
सब क्वेश्चंस ले लें लोगों के।
जी, so the next is very simple now. So we have found the time of flight, and the range we have already defined is nothing but the x coordinate. ठीक है ना, जो x coordinate है उसको आप लिखें, वो x coordinate हमारे पास यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है पिछली एक्सप्रेशन में। I'll just recall it verbally and you can look at your notebooks. The x coordinate is u cosine theta plus phi times t plus half g sine phi t squared. That's the x component. Okay, and if you substitute in that the value of the time of flight, you will get range. And I'm going to just, it's the same thing that we did in the earlier case. You take the X component and you substitute the value of TF, the time of flight, and you get range. Okay. And I'm going to directly write the expression. It turns out to be U squared और ये जो थोड़े बहुत steps हैं ये आपके notes वगैरह में दिए हुए हैं. You can always look up and verify. Don't worry about algebra. ठीक है, that would be the range. And you see, we don't have time in here now, only the angles, because we have substituted the time in the expression for the X coordinate, and we got range.
सर ये लास्ट स्टेप आप दोबारा बता देंगे?
जी क्या इसमें नहीं समझ आया?
सर ये आपने क्या सब्स्टिट्यूट किया है इस इक्वेशन में?
जो हमने पोजीशन वेक्टर निकाला है ना इस सेकंड केस के लिए R, ठीक है, उसका X कंपोनेंट लिया है, ठीक है, और उसके X कंपोनेंट में जहां जहां T अपीयर होता है ना, इसके X कंपोनेंट में जहां जहां पे T अपीयर होता है ना, वहां पे ये वैल्यू सब्स्टिट्यूट की है, TF की वैल्यू, ठीक है. तो इस साइड को जो वैसे तो X है, अब इसको मैंने रेंज कह दिया बिकॉज आई एम यूजिंग द मैक्सिमम टाइम that it takes to hit the ground. So I've defined this quantity as range. ठीक है ना?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So now what I have to do is I have to find the angle which would maximize this range. And the angle would be if I take the derivative with respect to derivative of R with respect to theta and then set this equals to 0 and then calculate the value of theta that would give me that would give me the maximum range. That would maximize the range. Okay, I'm going to write the derivative for you. I'm not going to take it one by one on the next board. So now you have R, and this would be dr over d theta.
Sir, I have a question.
जी बताएं.
Sir, अगर एग्जाम के अंदर would there be marks for steps too? अगर डेरिवेटिव लेना है उसके अंदर बीच में जो स्टेप्स आ रहे हैं वो लिखने जरूरी होंगे कि हम डायरेक्टली याद कर सकते हैं इसको?
अगर आपको याद हो जाते हैं तो ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं.
तो वरना जरूरी नहीं है स्टेप्स, राइट?
देखिए कभी मैं आई वुडंट एडवाइज दैट कि जरूरी नहीं है, क्योंकि you make mistakes from if you write things from your memory. ठीक है, so that's the derivative of the R, the previous expression, and now we set it equal to 0. This whole thing. All right. And once you have set it equal to 0, after some algebraic wrangling with the equation, what you would get is something like this. Equals minus tan of phi. Now this is a not very straightforward equation to solve for theta if you want to find out. So we would use a trigonometric identity which you can, and its details are given in your notes, that you can show 1 over tangent of phi is in fact equals to tangent of pi by 2 plus phi. Okay. If you do this substitution in this equation, then you would get an equation that looks like this. Tangent of 2 theta plus phi equals tangent of pi by 2 plus phi. Okay. Now this is simpler. This gives you 2 theta plus phi is equal to pi by 2 plus phi. Okay, we're slowly getting towards our answer, almost there. And the answer turns out to be theta equals pi by 4 minus 5 by 2. So this is the angle that would maximize range. See this? Theta equals pi by 4.
आपने राइट साइड पे लिखा हुआ है कि आप -1 over tan वो थीटा को उस वाले एक्सप्रेशन से कर सकते हो सब्स्टिट्यूट. आपने नॉर्मल tan थीटा को उस वाले एक्सप्रेशन से सब्स्टिट्यूट कर दिए.
ओहो, अच्छा ये थोड़ी सी गलती होगी. यहाँ पे ना इस 1 over minus tan थीटा ये है. ठीक है, अब ठीक है. ठीक है. So pi by 4 is nothing but 45 degrees. Okay, and then we have the half of the phi angle. So this is the theta which maximizes the range. But let's look at what does that mean in the picture. So what that means is this. That in a situation like this, if I throw the projectile, let me write the equation one more time, the theta. At exactly 45 degrees, that would not give me the maximum range. In fact, I am better off throwing the projectile a little shallower than what I would do in the flat ground case. So I should throw it at an angle smaller than 45. See, minus, and how smaller? Exactly half of the inclination of the ground, half of the angle that ground makes with the horizontal. So if I throw it at this angle, now it also depends on phi. So if I throw it at an angle that is, if you take the ground back to flat case, the phi goes to 0 and you recover the original condition. But if the ground is inclined, there is a slope with respect to the horizontal axis, then I should not throw the object at 45. It won't give me the maximum range. To get the maximum range, I must throw the object at an angle that is smaller than 45 by exactly this amount, half of the angle that ground makes with the horizontal. Okay, one last bit.
सर आप ये प्लीज एक दफा दोबारा बता सकते हैं जो आपने एंगल वाली बात बताई है?
जी देखें, अगर तो आपके पास ये देखें, अगर तो आपके पास ये फ्लैट ग्राउंड है इस तरह से, लाइक माय आर्म, और आप यहां से फेंक रहे हैं ऑब्जेक्ट, टू गेट द मैक्सिमम डिस्टेंस अवे फ्रॉम माई सेल्फ आई शुड थ्रो इट एट एन एंगल 45 डिग्रीज। ये हमने वो पहला केस किया है, ठीक है, जो फर्स्ट सिंपलर केस है, वेयर द ग्राउंड इज फ्लैट। अब अगर ग्राउंड ऐसे है, ठीक है ना, तो जो मैं प्रोजेक्टाइल शूट कर रहा हूं उसका एंगल वर्टिकल हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सिस का, अब ये ग्राउंड है, ये मेरा ऊपर वाला आर्म जो है वो हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सिस है, और ये एंगल है वेलोसिटी का, ठीक है ना। दिस इज द एंगल बिटवीन द हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सिस and the velocity, and this is the angle between the ground and the horizontal axis, ठीक है। इस situation में to get the maximum range, to fall it further away down the slope, farthest away down the slope, instead of throwing this, instead of keeping this angle 45, I should lower it by exactly half of this angle. I don't think I can do better than that. If it is still not clear, please come to my office or reach out to a TA or stay
सर
after
एक
the
बार फिर
class.
से एक्सप्लेन कर दें।
After the class.
ओके सर।
ठीक है।
सर पिछले बोर्ड पे जा सकते हैं?
जी
पिछले बोर्ड पे जा सकते हैं सर, जो इससे
नहीं,
पहले था।
अभी क्लास के बाद। So the next situation that we have is that the other way that I'm not going to do it completely in here, you this is given in your notes, you can follow it, but I'll explain the concept. Now let's say that we have a situation exactly like that. So this is the plane and you're throwing it, the projectile, at some angle theta with respect to the vertical axis, the vertical line. But this time, instead of inclining my coordinate system, I keep my x-axis here and y-axis vertical. ठीक है, तो अब मेरी जो velocity u है वो क्या होगी, सिंपल जो बहुत शुरू में हमने पहले वाला केस लिया वो ये होगी, ठीक है ना। u कोसाइन ऑफ थीटा x कंपोनेंट होगा और u साइन ऑफ थीटा y कंपोनेंट होगा, तो वेलोसिटी तो बड़ी सिंपल होगी। एक्सेलरेशन भी सिंपल हो गया, ये देखें। अब इस केस में अगर कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम को टिल्ट ना करें तो u क्या हो गया, u साइन ऑफ थीटा प्लस u कोसाइन ऑफ थीटा। ये एक्सेलरेशन भी सिंपल हो गया क्योंकि एक्सेलरेशन इज सिंपली एंटी पैरेलल टू y एक्सिस। तो एक्सेलरेशन क्या हुआ, माइनस जी ई वाई, ठीक है। ये तो बिल्कुल वही है जो ओरिजिनल पहले वाला केस है। अब कंडीशन कैसे इंपोज करें मैक्सिमम रेंज की, अब कंडीशन क्या होगी, दैट वुड नॉट बी y0, क्योंकि y0 तो यहां हो जाएगा हिट करने से पहले, ये y0 है, हिट तो इसने यहां पे आके करना है। ये बात समझ आ गई। अगर कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम को टिल्ट ना करें तो आपकी एक्सेलरेशन की इक्वेशन भी सिंपल, वेलोसिटी की इक्वेशन भी सिंपल, लेकिन अब ये कंडीशन आप वो नहीं इंपोज, ये ओरिजिनल बात मैं करना चाह रहा था शुरू में। दिस इज हाउ द चेंज ऑफ कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम मेक्स ए प्रॉब्लम, द प्रोसेस ऑफ गेटिंग टू द आंसर डिफरेंट। अब ये कंडीशन चेंज हो जाएगी क्योंकि y इज 0 हियर, लेकिन हमारी कंडीशन तो ये कि ये इसको हिट करे, वी वांट टू फाइंड आउट दैट। तो इसका सादा सा जवाब ये है, हमने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले किया, ये आप कर सकते हैं कि जो प्रोजेक्टाइल की ट्रैजेक्टरी है, इट मेक्स अ पैराबोला, it makes a parabola, and you can represent this line by a straight line. Okay, you have a straight line and a parabola, and you want to find out the point at which they would touch each other, intersect each other. Very simple. अगर आप कहते हैं तो मैं expressions लिख देता हूं for you.
Sir, could we say that in the untilted axis system, could we say that when the velocity of the y component becomes 0, तो हमारे पास दो values हो जाएंगी time की, और second value of time पे हमारे पास ground hit कर जाएगा ये।
नहीं, y की value 0, क्या आप क्या कह रहे हैं?
As in your y component की जो velocity की value है, वो जब ground पे hit करेगा, वो negative max होगी ना, तो हम लोग वो impose कर सकते हैं condition.
वो सिर्फ नेगेटिव है ना, बट उससे जवाब तो नहीं मिलेगा ना कितना नेगेटिव है, उससे रेंज तो नहीं आएगी। रेंज इस तरीके से आएगी, ये देखें जो so the equation of parabola that the projectile follows is this tan theta times x minus, and this is exactly what we did for the first case, minus g over 2u squared cosine squared theta x squared। ठीक है, ये पैराबोला की इक्वेशन है। और जो स्ट्रेट लाइन की इक्वेशन है इस ग्राउंड को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए, ये ठीक है, वो है सिंपली x इक्वल्स माइनस tan phi y, सॉरी y इक्वल्स tan phi x। ठीक है, तो आपके पास दो इक्वेशंस हैं, इक्वेशन ऑफ स्ट्रेट लाइन, ठीक है ना, दैट पासेस थ्रू ओरिजिन, ये रिकॉग्नाइज करते हैं ना, y is equal to minus some constant times x is an equation of straight line that passes through the origin, and up here you have an equation for parabola। ठीक है, तो इनको आप सॉल्व कर लें एक दूसरे के इक्वल करके, तो यू कैन फाइंड द एंगल एंड यू विल फाइंड द सेम आंसर बाय द वे। इन दोनों को इक्वल करके सॉल्व इट फॉर थीटा and you will get the no, first I guess you need to solve it for x and then maximize x with respect to theta. So first, solve it for x first here, these equations, and then once you have calculated x, then you can calculate dx over d theta. And this condition would lead to the same answer. And with this, just finish here. Thank you very much. And if you have
minus tan phi x है या